On January 13, 2012, the Mediterranean was calm, the weather was clear, and the Costa Concordia was following a route its crew had navigated hundreds of times. To the thousands of families boarding that night, there was no visible reason to doubt the safety of the journey ahead. Stretching nearly 300 meters long, the vessel functioned as a floating city for over 4,200 people. Its corridors were lined with luxury suites, casinos, and theaters, all designed to maintain the atmosphere of a paradise at sea. For a crew that has navigated the same waters year after year, safety can eventually begin to feel like a certainty. When routine is never challenged by failure, it can quietly transform a seasoned sailor's confidence into a belief that the standard rules of navigation are merely suggestions. At the top of the command chain was Captain Francesco Schettino. With years of experience commanding massive vessels, he held total authority over the ship's path, an authority that went unquestioned on paper. This map shows the standard, safe offshore route the ship was scheduled to take. However, Schettino decided to execute a sharp turn toward the coast, a maneuver known as a salute. The goal was to pass as close to land as possible to provide a better view for both the passengers and those watching from the shore. While passengers in the dining rooms were finishing their first course, the bridge quietly steered the vessel toward the island of Giglio. Beneath the surface, the calm water hid jagged granite rocks that stretched much further into the sea than the bridge crew realized. Because previous salutes had been performed without incident, the bridge crew operated under a sense of invulnerability. They were navigating based on a history of luck, rather than the reality of the risks beneath them. The peace of the evening ended with a violent grinding sound. The ship shuddered as thousands of tons of steel collided with solid granite. There was a brief, heavy silence, followed by total confusion. Dinner plates slid from tables, furniture crashed against cabin walls, and thousands of people waited for an explanation that did not come. Instead of admitting the severity of the impact, the crew issued messages downplaying the crisis. Passengers were told the vibration was caused by a simple electrical failure and were instructed to remain calm and return to their cabins. Deep below the waterline, the situation was already critical. The impact had torn a massive gash into the hull, allowing seawater to pour into the engine rooms and electrical compartments at a rate the ship's defenses could not stop. Within minutes, the systems that powered the ship's movement and communication began to fail. The main lights flickered and then died, plunging the corridors into near-total darkness. Emergency lighting provided only a dim orange glow as the atmosphere on board shifted. Air conditioning stopped, elevators froze between floors, and passengers received wildly conflicting instructions from a crew that appeared increasingly disorganized. While the command breach worked to control the flow of information above deck, the physics of the breach below made the ship's sinking inevitable. Every minute spent reassuring the passengers was a minute lost to the rising tide. The situation took a visible turn for the worse as the ship began to list. It started as a subtle tilt, but soon gravity took hold. Chairs and luggage began to roll toward one side of the vessel, crashing against the cabin walls as the tilt increased. This side profile shows why the pumps failed. The ship could survive 2 flooded compartments, but the collision breached multiple sections simultaneously. As the list grew, staircases became impassable vertical walls, and wide corridors became chutes sliding toward the submerged side. Despite the failing power and the extreme angle of the deck, the bridge still held back the general evacuation order. The delay had a direct impact on the rescue. Lifeboats are designed to be lowered vertically. As the ship tilted further, the boats on the high side became stuck against the hull, while those on the low side became dangerously pinned against the rising water. In a maritime emergency, time is the only resource that cannot be replaced. Every minute the captain waited to order the evacuation physically reduced the chances of an orderly escape for the thousands still trapped inside. Along the Italian coast, emergency authorities were receiving erratic and confusing radio signals from the bridge. These inconsistent reports wasted the final window of time officials had to coordinate a full-scale rescue from the shore. When the abandoned ship order was finally given, the atmosphere transformed into a desperate struggle. Parents carried children through dark hallways, and elderly passengers fought against the steep angle of the deck to reach the remaining lifeboats. Passengers who made it to the outer decks finally saw the scale of the disaster. The massive liner was no longer a ship. It was a capsized wreck leaning heavily into the Mediterranean. Escaping the hull required a terrifying physical climb. Rescuers and survivors were forced to scale the exposed, overturned exterior of the vessel as the sea continued to claim the lower decks. As the ship settled into its final resting place, the air was filled with the sounds of metal groaning under its own weight, and the voices of people still searching for a way out in the dark. While the evacuation descended into chaos, a new question began to circulate among the rescue teams and the authorities ashore. Where was Captain Schettino? The captain's location during the final hours of the sinking would become the focal point of the criminal investigation. This empty courtroom would eventually host the legal battle to determine how a routine voyage ended in such a catastrophic loss. The granite reef at Giglio provided the physical cause for the disaster, but the loss of life was determined by the decisions made on the bridge. The Costa Concordia remains a reminder that even the most sophisticated safety systems are only as effective as the people tasked with leading them.